Verbally Effective, your double E, Ina Esco here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to yet another episode of the Verbally Effective podcast. You know, I speak to a lot of the movers and shakers out here in the Mid-South region. You know, sometimes we get exclusive to Memphis, but we reach out even further. All right, today I have with me a financial literacy and community advocate. He is an entrepreneur. He has private businesses, nonprofits. He has a series called Check Conversations, the Class Act. He has a lot going on, and he knows all about the financial world, trading. You know, a lot of us are talking about this cryptocurrency, and I am absolutely fascinated with me. I have today with me Mr. Jason, we call him J2 Anderson. How are you, Jay?
I'm doing well. How you doing, Ina?
I am wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me today. How you doing on this Friday? Let's start there.
You know what? I can't complain. If I did, nobody wants to listen to it anyway. So just try not to. So I'm blessed. Again, just finished my last grad school course of the semester.
Awesome.
So just trying to get a little break before we get back to work. So
yes, and you're a very busy guy. Like, you are balancing a lot, and it looks like you've been doing that for a very long time. So we're going to start at the beginning. Where are you originally from, Jason?
Sure. I'm originally from, a small town, and I was born in Greenwood, Mississippi, and grew up in Grenada, Mississippi. So wow. I've been a Mississippi man for a long time.
Yes. Tell me about growing up in, that's considered the Delta?
You know what? Greenwood it's close enough where people always call Grenada the Delta anyway. Okay. So we'll loop it in.
Okay, gotcha. How was it growing up in Greenwood and Grenada?
You know what? Grenada's it's called a city that smiles. So it's interesting. It's got a dynamic history. You had a lot of civil rights history here in Grenada, Mississippi. You got a lot of a history of Black entrepreneurship as well. But you also have a lot of challenges with opportunities. And you see that in smaller, more rural communities. And just happy to see Grenada start to grow a little bit more, and optimistic about the future for them.
Yes. Wow. Now, are you an only child? Do you have siblings?
No, I'm actually the oldest.
You're the oldest. Okay.
I am, and I'm glad to be the oldest. So I have a younger brother who is about 2 years younger, but about 3 inches taller. And yeah, I was like, man, give me a little bit of that height. I'm just 6 feet. I want to give me a little bit more height. Okay. I have a little sister who came 12 years younger, and she just graduated from Delta State University, and very proud of her. Looking forward to what she's going to do in grad school.
Yes, awesome. Now let's go back to your formative years when you were out there in Grenada growing up. What was a younger Jason into? What did you like to do? What were you involved in middle school, high school? What did you have your eyes set on?
Well, I mean, what I was involved in was music and sports, right?
Okay.
It really wasn't business at that time frame, but I grew up watching my great-grandfather. He didn't have a high school education. He had a first grade education, but we always spent weekends in Greenwood with him, right? And he passed at 103 years old, but he lived throughout for me to get grown. And throughout my formative years, I always saw him he had a store out of his house. He would sell cakes, candies, and he was great at math. So for me, music, my mom being like singing in churches and stuff, and me growing up as a Kojic kid, I love music. I love sports. My dad had me playing sports at probably the age of 5 and 6, and played them throughout high school. My great-grandfather was great at sports as well, at baseball, and so I just really enjoyed those aspects. Science was also a big thing in my family. Okay. My dad tried to expose, and my parents tried to expose me to as much as possible. And I think that really gave me a broader perspective on life. So
Yeah.
As a kid, I remember going to international science fairs before I was in kindergarten. And
Wow.
so when I got in kindergarten, it was natural for me to say, hey, I want to do science projects. And so music, sports, and then science kind of guided me through my formative years, and kind of led to me winning some international awards in all of those,
Wow.
in music, in science, and it was well, not sports, but hopefully Grenada pulls off some championships in the future.
Yes. Now, Jay, when you say music, are you a singer or do you play an instrument? Or tell me about that with music, because I love music.
Absolutely. So definitely, I'm not a world-class singer, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
I did enjoy singing in church, but no, I would not be cutting any albums. Uh,
I hear a little tenor in that voice or something.
I can sing a little bit, but
Okay.
you're gonna put me on the spot like this now. Hold on.
Okay. I ain't gonna put you on the spot on verbally
Right,
affected.
I'll go viral. Your show really take off, but then now I do have a food song that people laugh at. I be singing, and I don't be singing for real. When I eat, I'll be like, "Thank you for the food, Lord.
Right.
Thank you." Okay, see that?
Ah,
There you go.
the food.
Mm-hmm. Oh my. Oh
Okay, I
goodness.
hear it. I can hear. I
No,
can hear it, Jason. I
that
can
ain't it.
hear it.
That's us playing with the food. We love to eat.
Okay,
Uh,
I heard that choir boy up in you. I hear it. I hear
okay,
it. Yes. Okay, Jason.
but
So let me ask you this.
okay.
Once you graduated high school, what high school did you attend?
Grenada High.
Grenada High. Once you graduated, what happened in your world?
Well, I had options. I really wanted to go to Duke, and then my mom got sick, right? And my sister was really young, and my dad was working on his PhD at the time. So I made a decision to stay close, to get the most money I could and stay close. So, because I didn't know what was going on, and it wasn't told to me what was going on. So I went to Delta State University, and I made some great friendships there. And it's very interesting going to a small PWI. But I was able to make some great business connections, right? And so a lot of people who haven't heard of Delta State University, it's an amazing business school, education school, and school for music, right? So for me, it was perfect because I love all those things. And there's actually an international business symposium. So I got to meet the CEO of UPS. He graduated from Delta State. I got to fly on a plane with I think he was the GM or VP, Myron Gray from Atlanta. And so my professors really put me in a great position to succeed because I just formed relationships with them. And that's when I really learned that it's not just about what you know, it's really about who you're intentionally forming connections with. So I really enjoyed my time.
Yes, and you majored in business, correct?
I did. I majored in marketing of all things, and somehow became a quality engineering manager of multiple business units. So
Wow.
that's interesting.
Yes, very. Now, just looking at your bio, I see that, your experience in the corporate world is multifaceted. So
Mhm.
once you graduated from Delta State University, tell me about your experience with getting into the corporate world and some of the accomplishments that you've had.
Well, the corporate world was a challenge. I'm going to say this to be honest. At first, I started working for Lennox International at 18, right out of high school. And I listened to my father. I went to an interview. They called me and said, hey, when other people did senior skip day, I didn't do senior skip day. I went and spoke to a group of adults about, Fellowship for Christian Athletes. And so by me sacrificing that time, the HR manager for a division of Lennox was there and said, hey, I want you to come interview, right? And so his intention was for me to actually be just working manufacturing and production with the rest of employees and just to have a work experience, right? Mm-hmm. But this is why I always believe in being respectful, being obedient to those that have authority over you. My dad was like, no, don't go like it's a regular interview, dress up, like wear your suit. So I wore my suit, and the HR director, who is now retired and is one of my mentors, Joseph Trevino, he said, I was going to put you on the floor, but because you came so prepared, I'm going to put you in the office with me.
Boom.
And so I started off my career in HR with no HR experience, and the only Black person working in any kind of management position that I knew of throughout Lennox at that time, specifically within that ADP branch, there was no one. So it was a journey being the only person of color in that space.
Yes. Wow. Amazing. Okay. So, I'm hearing you say mentor, and I'm sure across your corporate life, you've had plenty of mentors, not only in the corporate world, but I'm sure outside. Tell me about how important mentorship is to you, and why is it so important to have one?
It's important because somebody's already been, or someone is where most of us are trying to go, or someone's in the same space that we're trying to enter. And so it's hard. I was talking to a young lady this week who has an amazing idea, and but I'm like, it's going to be hard for you to achieve that idea without building partnerships. And if you want to go fast, like there's a saying, if you want to go fast, you go alone.
Right.
But if you want to go far, then you go with people. So I can't stress how important it is to have mentors in the space that you're trying to get to, or to look for those. And in this social media age, it's easy to find them. So it's been life-changing for me, and it still is important. I still seek out people in those spaces that I'm trying to get into.
Yes, yes, indeed. Now, I know that during your corporate journey, which you are still in, you have made the leap to start your own businesses, plural businesses. So, how did that happen, and how do you balance the two? Because you got a lot going on, Jason. Tell me about that leap, and how do you balance?
Well, it really wasn't a huge leap for me because I try to only do things that I enjoy, right? And so I had to ask myself, I said, I'm working in this corporate space, and I love being a mentor and helping people and guiding people and leading teams in process improvement. But do I really want to do this for the rest of my life? And so for me, I said, well, what do you want to do? So it wasn't hard to start a business. It was just that time to take to educate myself on the businesses I wanted to start, and then forming connections to really get into those spaces. Now, is it hard to balance? Yeah, sometimes it is. But I put that on myself because I can always scale back what I do, but I choose not to because I don't like idle time. And so at some point, I hope to get to a space where I can allow myself to get some rest and to actually appreciate things a little more. But it is a challenge. This balance is a dance. Every day is a dance. So I definitely have Outlook over here, and I look at it constantly. I have the link to my phone. I have Teams. I try to schedule downtime where no one interrupts. But I'd be lying if I said it was easy.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this, Jason. Do you think there'll be a point where you're going to leave that corporate side alone and go full entrepreneur? Is that in the, down the line in your short or long term goals?
Um, I will say this. Absolutely, I plan on retiring early.
Yeah.
And so I plan on actually retiring early and doing what I enjoy. So yes, I would say it is in my plans. I would say that my corporation understand that I currently work for. They understand that I have other businesses, and they understood that when I came in.
Gotcha.
And you'll be, like, I think the interesting thing is the further you go up in management, the more you'll figure out that people that work at high levels, they also have other businesses as well.
Yeah.
So I've seen executives that own farms, that own restaurants, that have their own side businesses, and they actually respect you more because you understand the value of your time, the value of money, and again, you have a value on yourself that's a little bit higher than the average person, because they're like, well, the average person is dependent on me.
Mm-hmm.
And so whatever I say, they really got to take it, to be honest.
Right.
But when you have other means of cash flow and other streams of income, they're like, well, you know what? Maybe I can't push this person as hard because they don't necessarily have to do this. They're doing this because they actually enjoy and appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
So I love having that balance, and I love hopefully being able to retire one day. And I'm not going to say when that day is, because
I believe you. I believe it'll be soon. I believe it'll be soon. I can already tell. And would you say that the foundation that you have in corporate management has prepared you for being an entrepreneur?
I agree.
Yes.
I do. You get certain fundamentals, and you get certain pressures that force you to grow. And so they either force you to grow or fold. And so that's what I encourage other young and older business people or entrepreneurs in any sector is don't fold under pressure.
Yeah.
Go through those pain points, those pressure points, because there's a saying that's absolutely true. The job doesn't get easier. Your ability to handle what's coming just gets easier. And so you're able to say, okay, cool, I see this coming. I can react quicker. I can manage it quicker. I can adapt quicker. I know what to do. I know what to say. I know how to maneuver. That's going to be effective for my company. But every time that you fold, you never allow yourself to grow because you never learn how to deal with that situation, so that you're capping yourself, right? And we don't want to cap ourselves because that's not God's intent for our lives. I mean, He wants us to be as great as we want to be. He wants us to prosper even as our soul prospers. So no, go through those pressure points.
Yes, indeed. Now let's talk about check conversations. Tell me all about check conversations. How was it formed, and what is the goal?
Okay, so actually, when I started Check Conversations, I said I didn't want to get into the podcast realm because I couldn't do it as consistently as I want. I knew my time, my schedule. I said, okay, I can't do this every week. I said, but maybe I can do something once a month or on a cadence basis where I talk to someone in a particular space that's done well in the business realm. And I say, okay, great. I would have a conversation with them about, again, currency. Saying, hey, how did you get into this space? Kind of like you're doing right now. How did you make your, basically, we ask these same questions on my Check Conversations Clubhouse. We say, what's your first check? What's your current check? And tell us about how you got to where you are. And so that's how it started. I said, I wanted to have conversations that are just as good as currency, because anytime we sit down with someone who's in a particular space that they've done well in regarding business, even if we're not in that same space, we can pick up something from them that can help us in the space that we're in or where we're going. So I wanted to have conversations that were just as good as currency to begin with. And then it kind of morphed. I was doing a lot of one-on-one sessions throughout COVID, teaching people about the stock market. And it got to a point where I said, I can't keep doing this one-on-one. Mm-hmm. And I've got a huge backlog. So I said, you know what? Mississippi has the lowest median income in the United States for families, right? I think the average Black family in Mississippi makes around $20,000, $22,000 a year. as a family unit.
Right.
And so even though we have low cost of living, that's not good. So I said there's so much that isn't taught to us about financial sectors, about investing, where we can literally retire in 20 years off a low amount of money with compound interest. So I said, you know what? I'm not going to do one-on-one sessions anymore. I'm going to start Check Conversations LLC, and I'm going to teach a group of subscribers about how to invest, right? Mm-hmm. And so I did, and it's been the greatest experience ever. I have so many success stories, and I think I posted one maybe 2 weeks ago where a young man, he's in the military, Corlius Moss, he, based off of what he learned from me, he went up 103% on his investments in 1 month. You can look up this lady. Her name is Karen Arrington. She's a global ambassador for the U.S., and she started Miss Black USA. Okay. And I taught her about investing, and she just messaged me last week. She's at Karen Arrington on Instagram saying, thank you so much. I think she would have made a lot more, but she's up 50% on her portfolio. And I got her into Dogecoin early. It's paid off for her. She's got a lot more money than me, so she's been blessed. And for me, though, it's really about those families that may not have jobs or that have low income, and saying, hey, you know what? Let me bring resources in that'll teach you about budgeting, number one, so that you know that your money isn't thrown away. So I work with Brian Thomas at Brian Thomas Speaks. Definitely need to have him on the show. Amazing man. And he really teaches people and has a format out of Chicago on how to set your budget as a family or as a person and get rid of waste. He saved one family, I don't want to name their names, over $20,000 a year in their budget. And then that allows them to have more money to invest. And so from there, we teach them, again, off $100 a month for 20 years, you could have easily over $500,000 with certain stocks.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's just really interesting. I can go on, but I'm not going to keep going. But just to see families actually save money, but also grow their portfolios and say, okay, you know what? I can make as much saving money and investing as my annual salary. It's a blessing.
Indeed. And you know what I would say personally, COVID has allowed me to put more attention on my finances, improving my credit, getting into trading. You mentioned Dogecoin. Like, that is all the craze right now. You know, it's up right now, but it can go down. You know, a lot of people are looking and investing in these cryptocurrencies. And I know with your Check Conversations, you are definitely educating everyone about the financial world. Now, you do this monthly. When is the next Check Conversations, Jason?
So I have Check Conversations for my subscribers every week. So definitely check out the site. I tried to make sure that it's the cheapest format out there. And it's funny, everybody listens to Wall Street Trapper and watches him now. But I was working with an individual that knows him. And I was like, yeah, his price is a little high. And I said, I'm going to come in low. And it's funny that he changed his prices right before I came out. But mine, again, is still lower. And I love him. I love the work that he does. Big student of everyone and big fan of everyone that teaches financial literacy and education. And so definitely, if you subscribe, every week we have sessions. So I have a session this Saturday morning at 8:30 a.m. And it's an introductory course for those just getting started in the stock markets, specifically for my new subscribers. But since I'm doing this show, I'll probably open it up for anyone. I try to do one free session a month. And so since I'm doing this show, I'll make this that session.
All right. And they can subscribe where, Jason? Let them know.
At checkconversations.com. It's only $30 a month. So, but what you'll learn about, again, is how to invest in the stock market on your own, right?
Yes.
You'll learn about brokers. You'll learn about clearinghouses. You'll learn about fundamental analysis. You'll learn about technicals. And then you'll learn about crypto. But also, for me, I still try to merge in things outside of the normal financial markets like budgeting. So I'll bring in budgeting coaches. And what I do is when I first welcome on, or when we do onboarding for a new subscriber, we also figure out what businesses they want to get in. And so I'm not a business guru, but what we'll do is we'll say, okay, if you want to get in trucking, well, I got a friend that owns 3 trucking companies. Let me connect you with him and have him talk to you and kind of give you some advice and guidance.
Boom.
Oh, you want to get into real estate? Well, I got multiple real estate agents and a broker within our community, within our family. So let me connect you with one of the subscribers that does that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And so that's what we try to do, is we try to say, let's focus on you as a person and all of your dreams, and not just the stock market. Because honestly, once you get the fundamentals and technicals outside of the family, you really don't need to be around that much. Yeah. But if we develop you as a person and we mold each other as a team, then there's so much more we can do outside of just the stock market. Yeah. And that's where I see the future heading for Check Conversations, is a family that says, you know what, we're all making money. Now there are other projects that we can do because we developed this bond, this trust, and we're building each other. Yeah. And I look forward to that.
Yes. And I love the fact that you are actually, giving back to people all of this good knowledge about, just financials in general, because a lot of people don't know, they don't know. And I'm so glad to see that people are now trying to seek this knowledge. So I applaud you for that, Jason. Now, let me ask you this. When you are no longer here, Jason, how do you want to be remembered?
I just want to be remembered as someone that actually cared and gave back and said, you know what? I didn't get to a space and have funds and just live my own life. I carried people with me, and hopefully those people take those lessons and carry other people with them. Mm-hmm. And so some people may say, I may not be able to preach like Paul, but maybe I can teach a Paul, and someone's going to be greater than me. And that's been my philosophy throughout my whole life, is that I would get into certain organizations growing up, and I would actually start some in high school and say, you know what, I've gotten to a certain point. Let me teach someone else so that they can carry this organization on after I'm gone, because it does no good for me to get all the glory, but the work doesn't continue. And so the work for specifically African Americans is building generational wealth, right? Because that freedom from generational wealth does something that frees people mentally from a lot of stress. And stress is a major factor to a lot of illness, but also a lot of turmoil within our families.
Yes.
So we look for things that make us feel good, like clothing and jewelry and a lot of things, but we're trying to find something that's already within us, and that's that self-value and self-worth. And I think the further we get into generational wealth, yes, we're going to have more of those things or access to those things, but they won't define us. We'll understand that, hey, you know what? We're inventors. And I think COVID is showing us that. I see that everywhere. We're inventors, we're creators, we're businessmen and women, we're entrepreneurs. And not only that, we're making our next generation rich and their generation after them rich. And we're teaching them tools to where no one's ever gonna be wondering, oh, well, how am I gonna pay my next bill if I lose my job?
Right.
I'm excited about that. I'm not excited about leaving this world.
Right.
But I won't be mad either, because I think I've done I'm in the space that God wants me to be in.
Amen. I believe you are too, Jason. And You have a brunch coming up, correct? Tell me about the brunch, the date and time and location. How can everyone check you out, Jason?
Yeah, so for those that really just like to celebrate life, so those that really want to party and learn at the same time, you know, you gotta mix and mingle. You can't just be like work all the time, right? So definitely we're having this is the second event that we're calling the Invitation. So we had one in December, but we couldn't make it large because of COVID. All right, so we had social distancing. We had a group of maybe about 15 friends and young entrepreneurs. Uh, some such as Tony Smith, who has socialpreneurs, a large group within the city of Memphis. We had Marquita Davis from the city of Jackson, Mississippi, who works for Jackson State University. We had a great group. We had Daryl Lewis, someone that's one generation up, that's over the Realtors Association for the city of Memphis. And we got all these different young professionals and seasoned professionals together for dinner. Mm-hmm. And we just talked about how do we build our communities, but also how do we edify each other in the business realm, right? And so what I decided when I started to grow Check Conversations was that we're going to try to do something at least twice a year, if not every quarter. So now that people have their COVID vaccinations, I got my vaccination. If you didn't, it's okay. I'm not judging you out there. But what we're going to do is we're going to have a larger event. It's called the Invitation, but it's called the Art of Excellence, right? And it's called the Art of Excellence because it's going to be at the Brooks Museum of Art. So we're going to have a DJ, all right? We're going to have a brunch, of course, that's provided by a guy that was actually on Iron Chef out of Little Rock, Arkansas. Can't think of his name right now, but it'll be on the flyer. You can check me out on Instagram at Hard Work Approved. We're gonna have music by DJ King, and if you're in the city and you know him, then you know that he brings out a lot of people. And he's also an amazing millennial talent, a generational talent that's DJing. But we're also, again, we're gonna have keynote speakers that are actually going to talk for small periods of time about certain industries, right? Right. So it's almost like a brunch and learn. You're going to be able to party, you're going to be able to dance, but then there's a section where we're definitely going to stop and say, hey, look, let's go out here and learn about these different sectors. Let's learn about trucking. Let's learn about real estate. All right, let's learn about maybe merchandising. Let's learn about these key elements and take something away that's going to help us grow outside of just having drinks or having food. Right. And so I'm really, really excited about that. And it's semi-formal. It's an opportunity to get dressed up. Yeah. That's a must. But we just launched the Eventbrite last night. We have done no promotions, and we already have over a dozen tickets sold. So I'm not sure what's going on yet.
Look, these people ready to get out and party, don't play. And learn, Jason, and learn.
That's the key word, they ready to get out and party.
Wow. So you know what? I know you're going to have a successful event. I want to thank you so much for joining me today on the Verbally Effective podcast. I'm talking about, you know, learning the finance game will build generational wealth, right? And you are definitely blazing trails in that area. Thank you so much, Jason. I have enjoyed your journey today. And I know everything that you touch will turn into gold. Thank you so much, Jason Anderson.
Hey, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Blessings to everyone out there. And for those who join Check Conversations, we'll see you Saturday. And for those coming out to the brunch, we're excited. Please go check us out on Eventbrite, or I'm going to have the link at Hard Work Approved. And you know your ticket's already on the house, so we'll see you next Saturday.
Hey, thank you so much, Jason. You are indeed verbally effective.
Ooh.
Thank you.
All right, appreciate it.